She kept her head down as she dumped scoop after scoop of ice into the red igloo of Miller Lite at her feet. As she leaned forward, Mac's eyes were drawn down by a power much stronger than his self-control. Her cut-off jean shorts were ripped at the bottom, and a hole at the corner of the back pocket showed just the briefest glimpse of something red underneath. "Who says I'm not in a hurry?" Mac tilted his head to try to see her face. "If I don't get asked to Dave with the tattoos, I'm afraid he may add me to his blender the next time he makes a mixed drink. Don't worry about Dave. Depending on how many Bloody Marys he's had this morning, he may not even remember he asked you for ice." She let go of the lid and it slammed shut. Finally, she turned and thrust the ice scoop at him. "It's all yours." He grabbed the edge of the scoop, and before she let go, their eyes met. It was just a glance, nothing more than a flash of hazel framed by thick black lashes. A flush of pink in her cheeks made his stomach hum with energy. "Thanks." He tried to appear cool and casual, but her composure rattled him. "I just got here." He hooked his thumb back to the parking lot. "Well, a little while ago. I'm Mac. I'm new." "I can tell." At her obvious appraisal of him, his heart sank a little. "Of course you can. Apparently I stick out." She hoisted the cooler onto her hip and held it there with one arm. Most of her hair was caught back in a thick braid down her back, but a wind-blown halo of blonde curls had escaped, framing her face. With her free hand, she pushed a lock behind her ear, but it sprang right back. "It's not just you. Every year around this time, we get a new crop of guys into crew for the summer. You're all pretty easy to spot." He opened the lid of the ice machine again and scooped ice into Dave's cooler. "What makes it so easy?" "You all have the same look in your eyes. Pure excitement about doing some real blue-collar work for a few months. You figure you'll get a good tan, make some spending money for the next semester, maybe have yourself a summer fling. Then you'll go back to wherever it is you came from, and later, when you're 40 or something, maybe you'll remember this summer as the best one of your life." He tossed the scoop in the machine and closed the lid, then turned and studied her. What had started as a light-hearted jab now dripped with resentment. He didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry?" She lifted a shoulder. "No need to apologize. Just remember, this is a real job for the rest of us. We're not here for flings or tans or to find new friends to take us drinking at the Floribama. We're here to work and make money. We're here to get by." She reached up and pulled her sunglasses down from the top of her head with her free hand, covering up her penetrating gaze with the oversized white plastic frames. "If everyone does their job, we'll all get along just fine." She strode toward the dock. "Wait," he called. She paused but didn't turn around. "What's your name?" After a brief hesitation, she glanced back at him. "Cat." He wanted to say something that would keep her here for even a few seconds longer, but he couldn't come up with anything to grab her attention. She lifted an eyebrow, and when he didn't speak, she flicked her braid back over her shoulder and resumed her walk toward the docks. "See you around." Leaving Dave's cooler on the ground in front of the ice machine, Mac took a few steps until he could see around the side of the building. He watched Kat as she made her way down the dock to a large fishing boat tied up in the closest slip. Its name, Alabama Reds, emblazoned along the side in bright red letters. With the igloo still propped on her hip, she stepped onto the edge of the boat and down into the hull, then swung the cooler onto a seat. Several men milling around the end of the dock paused their conversation to watch her, but she either didn't notice or pretended not to. She lifted her head and called up to a man in a wide-brimmed straw hat standing in the crow's nest at the top of the boat. When he nodded, she gestured for the men on the dock to climb aboard. She stood back with her hands on her hips, and each one lumbered onto the boat. When the last one boarded, he rested a hand on her arm and leaned down to say something to her. Even from where Max stood near the dock's door, he could see the displeasure on her face. She glared.